Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Thursday Live. I am Denise Armenio, certified emotion code, body code, Genius biofeedback practitioner. And I am here with Claire McIntyre and hopefully Connie Minnis shortly. And we are here to talk about the Genius Insight app and give a little bit of training for everybody and answer any questions that anybody may have. And today's theme that I thought that we would work with is working with the meridians inside the Genius app. And I do have Margaret with us today, who is more knowledgeable in meridians than I am. So I will help navigate the system and show how I would work with the meridians and working with someone. And Margaret, when she feels that there's some information that she could add to it, is going to do that for us as well, just to give a little bit more information. So with that, before we begin, is there anyone here who has not already been a volunteer that would like to volunteer for today? Anyone? Anyone? Lisa. Yes, come on down, Lisa. We'd love to have you.
Okay, thanks.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. So let me just start sharing my screen. And okay, I have my screen here. So I'm just going to enter your information. Spell
Gylsen.
Okay.
Gilson.
I spelled it right. And your birthday?
Yeah. March 1st. 1961.
Okay, great. So now that I've added my client's information, I'm just going to continue with new analysis, which is down on the bottom right. This is just an area where we can take some notes. It does not affect the scan at all, but we can add in here. Let's just say I put today's date. So I know what the notes had to do with. And Lisa, do you have anything specific you'd like to work with? Do you have any pain anywhere or?
A bit of painful joints.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wrote that out, but I could also do painful joints right here. Okay. And so how are they feeling today, right now, on a scale of 0 to 10? 10 being severe.
They're not really bad right now. I would say 3.
Okay, 3 out of 10. And is there one area of joints that's more painful than others, like knees or?
My thumbs and wrists.
Okay.
Or actually, now that you started, my neck has been stiff for quite a long time. That might be a better one to work on, maybe. I don't know. What's easier?
Yeah, well, maybe both. So stiff neck on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being severe, where are you at?
I would say 6.
Okay, perfect. Anything else?
No, that's all.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I've added those notes. I'm just going to hit begin. I could have hit back neck pain, but it's okay. I wrote it in. So now I'm just going to ask you, we're going to have you give your voice recording. So I'll count you down. I'll say 3, 2, 1, begin. And at that point, say your full name and then slowly say the vowels A, E, I, O, U and repeat them until this 15-second counter gets to 0. You ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1, begin.
Lisa Gilson. A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O-U.
Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to hit voice harmonics. Hopefully you can hear it. Voice harmonics is always a good idea for you to press before you move on to the next screen, because it's the Genius. It's listening to how the Genius has translated your spoken word into a frequency, and that frequency works as like a homeopathic for you, where like cancels out like. This does transfer and go through the quantum field. So even if we are having a problem with the sound going through with Zoom, you're still getting the frequencies of it. No sound, huh? Okay, I'm gonna go hit next. That's gonna bring us to the screen where I can take your pictures. Actually, let's do that now. And I'm not sure if it dropped in, so I'm just gonna take that again. Hold on. Okay, so I'm gonna hit continue. And now existing photo. And use. And we could hit continue. Okay, so now it asks for an energetic affirmation. So we can use an affirmation of your liking, or we can use the one that I like to use, which is all energies are transmuted into the frequency of love. I can use that, or if you have something. Okay, your sound's off. You have to unmute yourself.
All right. That sounds beautiful. I'm happy with that.
Okay, great. And so it is. Okay, so now once I hit OK here, the Genius will translate this affirmation into a frequency, and it will be overlaid every time we run frequencies. So now I'm just going to hit begin analysis. And I'm just going to check one last thing, guys, to see if I need to change anything. And maybe when I updated, it didn't put, maybe if I turn these frequencies up. Every time we do an update, you have to remember to change these. So that could be part of the problem. So fingers crossed. If you guys can hear the sound, that's the ticket there, is you have to turn the volume up in the back office and under. So, okay, so first thing I'm going to do is check your aura picture. So I can just click on aura and hit begin analysis. You hear it?
Yes.
You can hear it now?
It's a little sketchy, but you can hear it. Yeah.
I wonder if I share the sound now.
No.
Okay, so here's your aura. Also, just in case some
Not
of you
good.
missed it, if you hit this hide avatar, we can see the whole aura there without it being hidden by the avatar. So, which is nice. I like to see that. And then you can also click switch to old, and this will give you, this is the old version of it. So We do want to see, it looks a little muddy and dirty, so hopefully we can work with that, and working with your meridians. Hopefully that will help get some of that energy moving and help work with that. I'm not going to go too much more into that. I just also want to let everybody know too, with the latest update, as most of you know, the Genius uses a numerical value system. It ranges from 0 to 777. The ranges have been tweaked now a little bit. So now the lower range goes from 0 to 200, which is represented by the color blue. So the blue range has been expanded. The green range will then begin at 201 and go to 450. The yellow range goes from 451 to 599, and the red range has been expanded from 600 to 777. And I just want to go back for a second and remind everybody that blue is observed to be chronic energetic disturbances. And in Chinese medicine, they may refer to that as stagnant energy, or it could also be referred to as under energy. And the red is observed to be acute energetic disturbances, which means the disturbances are happening right now. So, and it can also be referred to as heat or inflammation or over energy. Now, I know everybody, they see a lot of red sometimes and they get anxious that there's a lot wrong. Don't get upset by the colors. The higher the number, it just means that it's more in the present, and the lower the number means it's more chronic. So ideally, we would like to see the range, your items to be between 400 and 599, ideally. So anyway, the next thing I would like to just point out is the little arrows on the right side of, on the left side of the panel. And that is just letting you know that you can click on the line or on the arrow to bring down the information that is underneath that. And it's more detailed information. And so what I'd like to do now when I begin a session with someone is I will go into my custom libraries, and I will work with a priming library, and that basically contains your minerals, amino acids, and vitamins, as well as everything in the biofield. I do have other things added to it, but if you don't have that library, that is what I would work with. But since we have it, I'm going to go find that library. And I'm going to hit begin analysis. Do you have a dog?
Yes, 2.
You're picking up something from them.
All right, interesting.
So yeah, so something in there. So again, this is a red, so it's more today, bacterial infection or fungal infection, and enzyme deficiency, dysbiosis, and leaky gut. So I don't know, that could be an issue that's happening with your dogs that are near you.
Okay.
Or some of those frequencies may be resonating with you as well if you're absorbing them. Just since that came up on top, I thought I would point that out for you. In the meantime, I'm just going to go to the library that's in the bioterrain, which is this vessel priming library. Now for ease, if you're in this section, you can drag and drop the library title and it will automatically add all 156 items to the main hold tray. It will say 157 because it also adds the library title. But I'm just going to open it up so that you can see everything in here, and I'm going to add all of the items. And then we can go right to our clicked the play for the main hold tray, and that brings us to progressive insights. And then we need to do begin analysis. And I'm going to select all, and I'm going to run this for 1 minute. And okay, so there's a couple of questions. I didn't have my chat panel opened. Hopefully, Claire, you
Yeah, I was just checking.
so you answered. Okay, so let me just say some of these because this is great information. So David's asking, can you do a balance session with the genius without having a voice analysis? And the answer is yes, you can. And I have many times, and I get amazing results. And David, just so you know, the first time I did run it without a voice was for a young boy in ICU that was in the hospital and obviously couldn't voice. And he had miraculous results with it. So yes, you definitely can. Barbara's asking, 600 is yellow. Red starts at 601. Will that be changed? Good point. And I didn't notice that. And I will mention that.
Well spotted.
Did you, if we can remember to send a message to Ryan on that one. And Margaret's asking, did you ever use super consciousness select? And Claire answered that sometimes I do, not all the time, but it's fun when you think about using it. And Margaret's asking, does BioTrain have animal panels? No, it does not, but I would use it on your animals because a lot of those parasites and fungus and all that other stuff your pets could have as well. So you could definitely use it on them. If your pets don't need the frequencies, they're not going to take it in. Okay, so great job. You had a 50% rectification here, and the harmony, alignment, and energy flow was all within a good range. Again, I don't like to see that range going more than like 20% between the energy flow, alignment, and harmony. So you did well there. I am going to back out of this now since you did do well, but if you're home users, you could run a minute again for all those frequencies, or you can rescan it and also run the highs and the lows for 1 minute. I'm just not doing that today because I want to spend some focus time on the meridians. So I'm going to clear out and go back to the main home page. And the second thing that I'd like to do is work with the general overview, and you get there by clicking on the system overview. And so the general overview will give you a listing of all the items, the line items from the system overview page and from any your custom library section. And I find this to be really important because there are items that you may not have selected because you didn't think to select them, and they could have something to do with all the underlying causes or your root causes. So I highly recommend working with this panel as much as you can. I have so many libraries that we can't possibly go through everything in here. It would take us too long. So I am going to use the function down at the bottom in the main hold tray. It's also the same in the quick zap, but if I press on this crossbar here, I can add the top 50 and the bottom 50, which is going to be the top 50 reds and the bottom 50 blues. We can just go and look at that quickly just to see some of the things that are showing up in the blues, which would indicate them to be out of balance for a more chronic period of time. We see cilantro. We also see your liver meridian, conception, vessel, meridian, the specific points on it. Some programming, I am God, I am sovereign, I am free. I express my true self with ease, and so it is. Then you have sorbitol, which is coming up in the animal healing, but that might also be something that's out of balance with you as well, or you might be picking that up that's out of balance from your dogs that you have. So now that I gave some examples in those, the next thing I do is I remove all these libraries, and then it just allows us to see all the items from the system overview. And again, I'm going to add the top 50 and the bottom 50. And look at you. Aren't you a perfect example for working with meridians today? Because I'm seeing a lot of meridian points here out of balance. So you are a perfect candidate, and universe always brings us the right volunteer. So we have all those added. I'm just going to now go to the progressive insights and hit begin analysis. And again, I'm going to select all, and let's run these for 1 minute. So we have liver 0.3, stomach 0.2, stomach 0.40, stomach 0.3, kidney 13, small intestine 7. So we'll look at those when we're done in here for a minute. Oh, and also your bladder meridian up there in black and white. I can see it was the second one.
It'd be interesting to see if the organs are actually out.
Mhm.
No.
Let's keep a mental note on those. We have liver, stomach, kidney, small intestine, and bladder. Okay, so we had 30% rectification. I'd like that to be higher. So I am going to deselect all of them, and I'm just going to select the highs and run those for 30 seconds. At 29%, I'm going to deselect the highs and hit the lows. Maybe we can jumpstart this a little bit. And you're hearing the sound clear?
No,
Oh, you're not hearing the sound. Oh, I thought you were. Bummer.
no, not now, I'm afraid.
Okay, that's still a little bit low. So I'm gonna rescan. David, you just hit skip if you don't when you're on that voice screen. So David's asking, how do you start if you don't use a voice analysis? And it just says skip. So that's all you have to do. And I'm going to hit all and run all for 30 seconds. Now we got 41% rectification, and the harmony, alignment, and energy flow are all within a good range. So that's great. So I'm going to arrow back. And I'm just going to click the arrow on the main hold tray, and on the top right of that tray, I'm just going to hit clear all. And we can now look at, we can just look and see what your today's stress is. It is low at 70. So just let's look. So inflammation is showing, adrenals is showing, degeneration, environmental, but this is all current and present. So this is just meaning what's going on with you today. And then on a more chronic level, we see infection, pathogens, bacteria, liver, fungus, immune, connective tissue, hormonal, and virus. I would say that you're probably a good candidate for the bioterrain. Libraries, you're kind of hitting on all of them there, but we will start with the meridians, and then if we have time, we'll head over to the bioterrain for you a little bit.
So would, I have had a couple of some stressful things happening. Would that throw everything out of balance? Is that, or?
Well, stress can always throw everything out of balance, right? But if you're chronic, has it been chronic stress or just like stress today?
Well, a bit more today, but I would say there's been a low level of chronic stress for a while. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, if you have parasites or fungus or things like that, I mean, stress is always going to make it worse. But if you have those organisms and they're active, and you have the physical version of them, remember, we're working with the energetics right now. It doesn't, so we're not diagnosing or assessing that you have that physical condition, although, many times it can be. And many times, you may have had it and cleared it, and the energetics of it and the symptoms of that come along with having the energetics are still there. So that can always be looked at. But let's go look at your meridians, which is also very low at a 6, which is no surprise because we saw that when we were in the general overview. But let's click on your meridians now. And so, I know. Good. Let's just look at your organs and see if any of them correspond. So on blue, we see bladder, kidneys, liver. Well, liver is below 400. So we see a bunch of them in there that are, there's actually nothing in your organs between the 400 and 600 range. So let's work on all the meridians. And so Margaret, I'm going to ask you a question here in a minute. Let's just go back to the meridians because I want to work on the meridians first, and then we can look at the organs. Margaret, you can tell me your opinion, but so the reds for me, they indicate over energy. The blues are going to be chronic under energy. So I would work on the bladder and liver first to see if we can get them going. And then I would go down and address working with the ones that are blue. I don't know if you have any opinions there. But we can.
So for me, I would say bladder and liver are acute, and that one of the things that we say in Chinese medicine is treat what you see. So that bladder and liver would be like what we would see because it's acute. The chronic stuff we always see because it's been there so long, or the body's been managing it, so it's kind of like adapted to that. The blue. Okay.
So we were kind of on the same page with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just drag the liver and the meridian down. I'm going to work with both of them, but I'm also going to click on the line, and I am going to add, again, the red points. The red points, and I'm going to add the last point regardless of what the first and the last point, regardless of what the color is. So now I have to find the first. On the bladder, what's the last point? What's that number? Do you know that, Margaret? Is it 68, 67? Okay, guys, if anybody sees,
I'm trying to catch up with you.
I'm looking for one first. Oh, here it is. And then, I don't know what the last point is. This thing is too tiny for me.
67 is on the small toe.
Oh, 67. Okay, thanks, Margaret. And here it is. So I'm adding the reds because there's more. You want to try to move where there's more energy to where there's lower energy, but I also work with the first and last point because that could help stimulate getting things going. Again, Margaret, I don't know if you have any, I'm happy to.
Yeah, so the first and last point on all the meridians helps clear the channel, or sometimes we'll use the word channel, but it's the meridians. But sometimes acupuncturists go back and forth saying meridian or channel. So the first and last point will clear the channel. Also, the first point on the meridian will help the last point on the meridian. So let's say someone had eye pain where the bladder 1 is. If you use bladder 67, you can clear any eye pain or a frontal headache with the last point. So you can use the first point to treat things at where the last point is, and vice versa.
Okay, so would you not put in the reds right now? Would you just do the first and last and then go?
No, I understand totally what you're doing. I agree with that you're doing reds and the blues and the first and last point of the meridian you want to work on. I agree with that.
Well, I didn't put in the blues yet because I want to. I just put in I put in the first and the last and the reds because the reds are over energy to me, and I want to see if I can move that over energy to areas where they're under energy, which would be.
So red, because the channel was in red, and doing the reds for that channel that was in reds. Gotcha. Yes. Yeah, agree with that. No, sorry about that.
That's okay. And so now I'm going to go into liver and I'm going to do the same thing there. So I'm going to add the red points. And now I'm going to look for the first, which is here is yellow. And the last point in the liver is 14. Is that right? It gets cut off over here on the side. Oh, and the last point 14 is in red. So we have all those. Okay. So now we're going to go to progressive insights, analysis. And I'm going to work with all these points because we've already established why we would be working with all of them. So I'm just going to hit play and we're going to run them for 1 minute. Yeah, Margaret, I have a question. Do any of these meridians, which one would pertain to like the neck, let's say?
Bladder and governing vessel.
And I think the governing vessel was in blue. So
okay, yeah.
Hopefully we're going to be stimulating that.
Oh, small intestine too is really good for neck pain.
Okay, so we'll look and see where that one is. Okay, so it's a 27% rectification. So I would run this again. I'm just gonna put it on 0 minutes so we can run it for 30 seconds. Good job. 68% rectification, and the harmony, alignment, and energy flow is within that 20%. So that's amazing. Now, just curious, Lisa, how's your neck feeling?
A bit looser, a bit looser.
Good. I was moving my neck too, because that happens to be one of my complaints for today. So given that I'm hearing this, the frequencies, my neck actually feels a little bit better. Okay, so we worked with that. Normally I would run the highs and the lows, but you had a really high rectification here, and I want to work with some of the other meridians, and I don't want to run out of time. So I am going to go back. I'm going to clear all these. And now I'm going to work with the blue ones, and look at that small intestine, governing meridian. They're all in the blue. So I'm going to add, whoops, these. Okay, and now I'm going to go back and I'm going to do the same thing that we just did on the red ones. I'm going to add all the reds and the first and the last point. So here we go. So governing. So GV1 is, and then it's GV 28 is the last point. And here's 28. Okay, so now we're going to the triple heater. We're adding the reds. And what is the last point on triple heater? Is 23. Yes, thank you, Margaret. And 23 is red, so we already have that. And here is the first point for triple heater in yellow. So now we can go to the lungs, and we're going to add the reds and the first point, and we have the last point. And what is Margaret saying? In lung, and the last point of the lung is on the, is on the thumbs. The last point on the lung meridians is on your thumbs. And spleen, let's add the reds again. And the first point. And Margaret, you know what I'm looking for now. The last point of the spleen is 20? 21, okay. And that one's a blue. And the small intestine, let's add the reds. And one is already added, and Margaret's ahead of me. It's 19. So small intestine 19 is a yellow. Okay, so we can now go to the progressive insights and begin here. And again, I'm going to move the minutes to 1 and select all. Great work. Again, a 67% rectification. So that's terrific. How are your hands, thumbs? Little better?
A little bit better. Yeah. A little bit better. Yeah.
Good. Okay. So we covered those. I just want to see where the conception vessel is. And for this one, I'm just going to add these to the quick zap. I probably would have added these when I did the high ones before, and I forgot about the conception vessel. So let's just run these guys. I just put it in the quick zap quickly, and I just want to add. So Margaret's saying the conception vessel is a great meridian for women, can help men too, but known for helping women. That's great. It's also, for me, I always like working with the central conception or central vessel and the governing, because that's running like the front and the back of us. And the governing vessel is really important for bringing energy in. And that is something that's also been really stressed in all my trainings with emotion code and body code. We kind of swipe over our head, which is swiping over our governing meridian to help clear things. So just a little added information there. Okay, so good job again, 45% rectification there. Let's just go and take a quick look and see how your aura is doing since we've worked on all this. So here is this, and I'm just going to take a quick picture of this aura. And we might as well take the old version as well, just so we have comparison. And let's begin in this. So we do have a change in there. We're bringing in some green. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on this. There is so much information that we can see. There is some blurring out on the outer edges, which that would indicate to me interference, spiritual protection library. It's, out in time and space. So but what's close to your body is a green, bright, nurturing, healthy energy that's coming in. So I like seeing that. And the old version, I would say that it looks to me like you still need a little bit of grounding. So we can look to see in that spiritual protection, bring in some grounding energies for you. And I would like to also work on the gem library, which has to do with grounding and stability. So let's just look at the spiritual protection. Where are we? So, and here we are, this spiritual protection was green and 364. So it's a little bit on the low side. Oh, okay. So Margaret's saying spleen meridian is earth, of earth in the elements, and is also a grounding meridian, or spleen 3 is earth of earth. Okay. So we'll look at that as well to see if we have that in there on that point. But, grounding is 384. I'm going to clear this top tray, and I'm going to add in, I'm going to add in all of these actually. So we can run, work with all of those. And let's just bring in your spleen. 3. And run. I don't, oh, it's on 1 minute. Okay. Good job again, Lisa. So let's just see how that affected your aura. And then I'm just gonna jump and quickly get you some pain-free biotin. It's looking a lot better. So I like that. So let's take a picture here. And we can switch to old. Yeah, you still need some grounding help in here. So I'm going to clear. No, I'm not going to clear. Sorry. I'm going to go to my custom libraries. Let's go to pain. And add in some of these pain frequencies for you, I think. Sorry, I'm just going to use all the trays today. I use the main hold, the quick zap, and now I'm going to use the quick balance to balance some of these pain. So you did well there. How are is your neck and your hands feeling? I can't.
Slightly better, not pain-free, but
Not
I
pain-free.
think
Okay.
little incrementally, yes. Yeah.
Okay, I only ran this for 30 seconds, so we can look at running that. Let me just run that another 30 seconds for you and see if that helps.
But it might need a bit, these are long-term issues, but they're not just short-term
And so are your
issues.
meridians being off, so.
Yeah.
So Margaret is saying the meridians may show imbalances long before they occur or are seen in the physical body. Of course, we are not diagnosing and treating with the genius.
Mhm.
But I believe the genius picks up energetic disturbances in the energetic field to some degree too. Yes, I agree 100%, Margaret, on point. Okay, so again, you had a 44% rectification. I am just going to go out here and I want to go to the bio terrain. And I don't know, I'm kind of being called to this library for you. This biofilm. So I'm just going to add the reds and the blues on that. And I'm trying to remember what we saw. And let's add in some of the solutions for some of this stuff. Margaret is just reminding us, in Chinese medicine, some say it takes a month to heal every year of sickness. So 1 month for 1 year and so on.
Hey, that's very interesting.
Now, I never heard that before, so thank you.
Okay.
And I'm going to select all. Okay, so that's a little bit low. So I'm just going to deselect the all. And I'm going to select the highs and the lows and run that for 30 seconds. And typically we don't have time, but when you're working with parasites, you usually do want to run like 17 minutes because that's like the kind of the kill cycle for the parasites. Good job there. So now I'm just going to go back and I'm just going to hit the grounding. And again, I'm putting the timer on 0 and run the gems that are for stability and grounding for 30 seconds here for you. And you did well there as well. Good work. And let's see now what your aura is looking like. Okay, so we have some bright colors. It's brightening up. We can switch it, and you are looking like you have some good grounding energy coming in here as it's filling up. Sorry, guys. So some good grounding energies are coming in. So that looks great. So if you can just give it a last whirl, your neck, everything is still about the same, or how would you rate it? I can't hear you. You're muted.
Keep doing that. Sorry. I'm worried the dogs are going to bark in the background.
Oh, that's okay.
It's definitely looser. It's not gone, but it's definitely looser. So thank you very much. Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And Margaret, thank you. You have been most helpful today. So
Yeah.
really appreciate your coming in and helping and giving some of your advice, working with
thank you.
Meridians. Does anybody
So
have any?
Just one last. So what would you recommend then that I continue with? Working on that similar type of thing, and except for running it for 17 minutes?
Do you have the bioterrain?
I don't have the bioterrain. No.
So I would continue to work with the Meridians like we worked with them today.
Yeah.
And you could do entangled insights and
Yes.
try to work with the parasites that way.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's just a little bit, it's a lot more tedious to work with it that way. But that would be my recommendation for
Okay.
you.
All right. Thank you.
And let us know, come back and let us know how it works.
Okay, I will.
All right. So I'm just going to stop sharing here for a minute. So I just want to thank you, everybody. If anybody has any questions before we leave, I just wanted to, if I can answer anything. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing everybody next week for our Thursday live next week. David says, great session. Thank you, David. I'm glad that you liked it. And again, if anybody has any suggestions or something in particular they would like me to work on next Thursday, please email me at Denise at Inside Health Apps, and I will definitely look into working on that for everybody so that we can all learn something. So anyway, have a great week, have a great day, and peace. Bye, everybody.